Good evening to all those viewers out there. Welcome to Momshie Jhen channel, Real Talk. Naimbag nga malam kada kayo amin. So I'm very, very happy again to be with you. The Real Talk by Momshie Jhen is actually a program geared in helping small entrepreneurs, self-employed, and all the locals of Baguio who would like to rise above this pandemic. So we are featuring the small businesses, artists, creatives, and also yung mga self-employed po natin dyan na nawalan ng trabaho and you have the skills and you have a good story to share, then please share us your story and you will be featured in this program. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest for today is very, very special. Although he is not representing any business, but our topic for today po kasi is very timely. Dahil nga po recently, we have heard that Baguio City is now opening by trickles to tourists. So I repeat, yes, you heard it right. So Baguio City will be opening its doors to our tourists once again, but in trickles, meaning konti lang at pa-konti-konti. So aalamin po natin yan. But before that, I'd like to ask our viewers, sa lahat po ng nanonood dyan, please do click the subscribe button so that you will be updated with our uploads and our next segments. So, thank you very much again for, ayan, may mga nanonood na rin po tayo. Thank you very much po sa ating mga viewers na tumatangkilik at sumusubaybay. So, hindi ko na po patatagalin. Ang tanong ng tao, ready na ba ang Baguio para sa turismo? I, from the tourism industry, a travel agency owner, is very excited to know whether Baguio is ready and how will this benefit the tourism stakeholders at the same time? Because honestly, we are really struggling at this time. That's why a lot of tourism stakeholders are now innovating and finding ways and means in order to survive this pandemic. So the very right person to talk about this issue and this topic and this announcement would be our guest for today. He used to be the Dean of University of the Cordilleras, the Engineering Department, and for a certain period of time, he also became an AVP. And then in order for us to know why and how he got into the tourism industry, then it will be shared by him. Our guest for today, very handsome, very intelligent, and very smart, Mr. Alec Mapalo, the Tourism Officer of Baguio City. Sir, good evening po.
Yeah, hi, Momshie Jhen.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, it's really an honor. I'm happy to be with you tonight. This is one first-time experience to have a virtual talk show.
Yes.
Let's see, kasi this is a nice privilege also for me, no, to share a lot with regards to you've mentioned about the status of our tourism industry here in Baguio City, because after my post, actually it's my personal post last week when I sort of announced how we will set up guidelines during that time when we will open our city for tourists. And I was bombarded with a lot of questions and reactions.
Real Talk by Momshie Jhen talks about the stories of real people and ordinary people. Hindi man tayo artista, mukhang artistahin lang. Pero we wanted to know your story. So sir, before we talk about yung serious matters, may we know your transition from being an academician or a dean to the transition of being, in the tourism industry. Can you give us a short background?
Yeah, sige. I started na parang seryoso agad kasi, no? Fresh
na. Fresh pa kasi.
Sa mga media interview kanina, kaya parang...
kaya pala. May pinahuhugutan. Yeah.
Nasanay ako sa ganung mga kagad answers. But anyhow, yeah, sige. It's kind of weird, no? Not a lot really expected. Even me, no, it's not something that I planned. It's not something that I even actually expected that I become part of the government and in the tourism office. As a matter of fact, I actually even saw myself as perhaps ending or retiring as an academician, as a person working for the university. Yun na ang nakita kong parang direction at that time. So talagang twist of fate ang nangyari. Well, for one, in UC kasi, I've been to many offices, but primarily I started as a professor. No, I am a graduate of civil engineering. I am a licensed civil engineer, and I was teaching civil engineering in UC, and then I was appointed a dean immediately after 5 years of teaching, which was kind of also that time a milestone for me and historical as a matter of fact kasi parang I was like one of the youngest dean back then. No? So
I've heard.
in 2005, yeah, 2005. And then 5 years after that, I was assigned Assistant Vice President, AVP for Corporate Communications for UC. That it is the office that is in charge of marketing, branding, PR, is in corporate communications, and then I was assigned to student affairs and services. No? So I restructured actually. As a matter of fact, yung mga pinuntahan ko naging pioneering. Like, for example, when I was assigned as corporate communications, there was nothing like that before. So I was the very first in UC to be a corporate communications officer. And then when I went to the student affairs, there were two separate offices actually. So I was the one who initiated the restructuring of that office to make it encompassing, and it's a coherent office involving all student support system, no? The student development, student welfare, pati yung mga student discipline, nandun. Anything, kaya nga tawag ko sa office ko noon, anything that happens outside the classroom. In charge, no? So even culture and arts, and even sports development for students. I think that was my longest stint in UC, and it gave me an exposure of many community activities. Kasi nga, because I'm involved with student activities, and that was when we are organizing or forming student programs that are that where they can be involved also in community activities or community affairs. Ako nasa din ako no? Hilig ko rin kasi culture and arts. So medyo nabigyan ko rin ng attention yan when where I saw to it talaga. We even created what we call the UC Center for Creative Productions, which is also a first. No? And I was the first creative director for that office. So may choir yan, may orchestra. That was the time when it's the first time also for a university to have a grand orchestra, and then we have the dance squad, the dance company, and then we have the cultural group, no, which we called back then Happy Yumi. Now it's called UC Saenya Kasai. So. That group, I consider that as a major centerpiece. No? So how did that background came into
Ano nga ba?
because of those many student activities that we were organizing, I got to be invited to a lot of community activities as well, particularly in cultural programs of the city. I started volunteering for Panagbenga activities. I was once a committee member together with Ma'am Bing Bangawit, who was also the Center for Culture and Arts head of St. Louis back then. So together with her and other culture and arts directors of the city, we banded together. We formed the Baguio Cultural Society, and we were assigned. The group was tasked to spearhead the street dancing of Panagbingay and anything cultural related. Lahat ng mga shows na Panagbingay, it's like it's us that is being doing that. So and then fast forward,
Yeah.
kasi ano pa yun mga 2012, 2013. Fast forward, mga 17, 18 yan, nagkaroon ng Creative City. No?
Yeah.
So I was invited by our friend Chancellor Rovillos and Stan.
UP.
Yes, and Mambino Stan, who was our DOT regional director back then. No? They were headed. No? And I was also invited to join the a steering committee or steering group that will help craft some activities for Creative City. Because of my background in the UC, I was into culture and arts and I was involved in a lot of creative performances, creative activities. So napasok ako dyan. And then, of course, we are partnering with the city back then. No? At one time, there was it was only parang biruan lang yun eh. It's like an informal gathering with our friends from the city government. No? When they were asking us, all of us actually, baka may kilala kayong pwede mag-apply ng tourism officer kasi ang tagal nang wala. So biglang may tanong and walang nagsiseryoso actually to sa question, no? And even me actually, matagal na palang wala, sabi ko. I didn't know, sabi ko. And then at one point, parang everybody was kind of pointing at me. Bakit hindi na lang ikaw? Sabi. Tapos, bakit? Why me? But it was all part of the a jestful barter lang yun ng mga makakaguluhan namin. So it was not really very serious. And then, a little few weeks or months, our friend from the city government actually called and asking me. So, seryoso pala.
Seryoso.
Seryoso. And, doon nag-tickle yung fancy, di ba? Parang,
right.
Oo nga, parang may promise, gano'n. Especially that yun nga, I'm into arts, I'm into culture, and then the activities. There are a lot of things that I see in the city na pwedeng ma-improve, pwedeng mapaganda, and we are really a tourist destination. We are a tourist city na talagang pinupuntahan, and sometimes we see these problems whenever we have peak seasons na maraming dapat ayusin, no? And I'm not assuming naman that I'll be the one solving all of those problems, but what I'm saying is baka pwedeng makatulong. At least citywide na, no? I've always extended my help sa university, but perhaps this time, sige, expand natin yung, or expand natin whatever we can extend, no, for the city. So, pati yung application ko noon last minute, parang hindi pa rin second thoughts pa rin because I'm okay in UC and I left with all the good friends there, and even with my boss there, the Salvosas are still very, very good to me until the end. At pati sila na proud actually when eventually I have to ask permission. No?
So what made you finally decide that this may be, this may be planned for you?
You know what? The funny thing is, it was a turning point siguro. I had a heart attack.
Yeah, I remember that. Kaya ang napopostpone yung transition, right?
Heart attack na. Kasi after my application, I'm not even expecting na ako'y pipiliin. I just applied. No? But then I had a heart attack and it was parang a mind-opening time at that time na parang ang dami pumasok sa isip ko yung what could have been even the doctors are saying na it was really a critical situation that back then na pwede kong ikinamatay yon because I experienced it alone driving my car going back to Baguio from Tabuk City So no one was with me, no one is helping me, and I was in that winding road in Ambuklang, di ba? Going to ano, na yun, I was feeling helpless, you know. Well, eventually I reached Baguio with the help of a nearby small hospital. They used their ambulance. They gave me first aid. I was able to do that with the Google. Wala akong kasama eh kasi yung Google Map, basta nakita ko lang there's a small hospital down nearby, so I drove myself there. Yeah, so nadala naman ako sa Baguio, and then I survived it. No? After an angioplasty procedure, uh, and then yun, ang dami ko reflections during that time. Ano kaya yung sign ba ito? Parang gano'n. Di ba? Parang okay, this is like my second life. There must be something that the Lord wants me to do, parang ganon. So, parang pumasok ulit yung idea na yun, baka may I have higher mission. And then, you know what, while I was confined in the hospital, that is when I received the confirmation that I got accepted, and our former good Mayor Dumogan was the one who chose me actually personally. And I received that while I was confined in the hospital. So, oh Lord, sabi ko, this must be the time. Diba? Second life, second career, second chance for everything. So, yun, medyo dramatic yung kwento. Pero it's part of it's part of the transition actually.
Yes, exactly.
Sabi ko nga, it's a turning point, and so I have to make paalam to my bosses, and I have become really very close with the cell bosses, and yun na nga eh, they delayed it a little. I have to stay for a month muna, while Mayor Domoga naman has been waiting kasi nga gusto niya on the spot immediately, no? Kaya nga, what's funny is that's exactly August 24 or 25 when that's my last day in UC. And during a graduation, no? And usually I'm in charge of the graduation. Kaya very sentimental yung graduation na yun. That's my last day. In the morning, that's the graduation. In the afternoon, I'm taking my oath already at the City Hall. So, parang hindi ko na-feel na merong gap. Hindi man ako nakapagpahinga. No? So, napaka-historic nung August 24 na yon na everything happens so fast. So, and that's it. And that's what perhaps we call destiny. No? Sometimes we plan everything, but it just happens.
Yes, it was your fate. Kaya nga sabi ko, maybe it was really a fate na maging tourism officer ka. No, everything happens for a purpose. I believe in that. And I believe you also have a purpose for Baguio, especially for tourism.
I could help.
Yeah, and you're doing really great, sir. As syempre, you cover us as a travel agency. We have been working with you for a while, and then we see the changes. And so, thank you for entrusting us your story and your dramatic moment. Kulang na lang merong ilaw na nagpaparamdam sa'yo. Sorry?
First time ko atang nakwento to in public.
Right. Nakwento mo rin yan sa akin. Remember? Sa coffee shop.
Yeah. Oo.
Privately. Nakwento, tapos na-refresh sa akin. Oo nga. No? Ganda nung transition mo at saka yung kwento mo. Sabi ko nga, it must be fate that you were assigned to do this job or do this position because there might be a plan for you. Ayan. So which leads me to my second question. You've been in the tourism sector for how long na, sir?
2 years.
2 years na. What was the most difficult challenge that you have encountered as a tourism officer?
Well, not only as a tourism officer, no, as a government
employee. Yes.
It's a big change, no? And nasanay ako doon sa private sector where the operations and the way we govern, no, yung mga dynamics ng requirements sa private sector ay napakalaking difference, no? It's a big change. Masasabi natin we can be more flexible, no, sa private sector, and we live by or we govern by our experience, no, how we learn from the different situations, and that is we start to adopt policies depending as how we go along. Now, pagdating ko sa government is really too structured. Na super structured, so you have to understand, you have to study all of the processes.
You
Eh
have to
ako pa,
follow.
yeah, you have to follow everything. Eh ako sa UC kasi noon, ano ako, go, 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 no? Pag may
Mm.
pumasok sa isip ko, okay, let's do this. Magtatawag na ako ng tao, isang tawag lang yan. And then after a few minutes, nagmi-meeting na kami. No? And
Mm.
then we're starting to plan out and then craft what I've envisioned, put them into details na para mangyari na. No?
Mm.
But in the government, hindi pwedeng gano'n, na gano'n kabilis. No? So we have to plan a year ahead. So, lahat ng activities namin for next year. So, ngayon palang iniisip namin. So, medyo hindi ako sanay doon, no? But it's something that we can learn, no?
Pati budgeting, right? 1 year ahead.
Budgeting. Kaya, whenever we think of something, like immediately, meron mga hindi na pwede kasi nga dapat sundan natin yung plano last year, no? But we were able to I think I was able to also discover some how we can skirt things through na ma-implement pa rin yung hindi talaga na plano last year. So I have naman mga mentors sa city government na siguro they did not see lang before yung ganun ka-aggressive na thinking, na forward thinking. But ngayon, tinatanong ko, paano pag this is what I want to do? Paano if this is what we want to implement? Ganun. So lahat kami, pati sila nagtatanong na din sa isa't isa, o baka pwedeng ganito na lang, o baka pwedeng ganyan. O sige, i-amend natin yung mga project proposal. So, meron palang pwede. Meron palang, it's possible pala. But you have to go through the process again. Parang you go back to zero. And then do the paperwork again. Ako hindi ako sanay ng ganun. I need some people to do that for me. Ang daming paperwork. Sabi ko nga, ang daming papel pag government service. Sa private, as much as possible, sana wala na, paperless sana di ba? Tapos pag kailangan i-revise, you have to change that again, print that again. So ang daming procedure. But at the end of the day, we learn things through, no? And
Right.
then meron pa rin namang room for innovation. We are still able to but yun nga, very strict pagdating sa auditing, no, sa accounting, we have to be strictly observing COA rules, yan, pag liquidation. So, kasi you see somebody else do that for me, no? So ikaw nang mag-ayos. Ngayon, I have to study everything. Yeah. The challenges now, no, currently, yun yung mga challenges or the difficult part when I was starting. Pero ngayon na, I think, well, it's not really difficult, but nakapanibago lang that I have to be always ready for any public
Appearances.
Andyan yung laging media na gusto
Yes, sir.
magtanong. You have to accommodate everyone every time, kahit pagod na pagod ka na. Or sometimes even if you don't know the answers yet, but they are already there. So yun yung kailangan, lagi na lang ready.
Ever ready, Rage. And then I thank you, sir, for sharing us your time. I know you've been through a lot today kasi it's Monday, so it's the start of the battle for this week, and you have spared your time with Momshie Jhen. So I thank you for that talaga. So salamat, sir. So ngayon, thank you. Thank you naman po. It's an honor to have you. Siguro a quick naman, kung merong challenge, I'm sure there would be rewarding moments. So what is the most rewarding moment of being a tourism officer? Meron ba? Yan.
Meron bang rewarding experience? Siguro I think yung now nga na well, perhaps this is one of the first times na somebody is in the government where medyo mas aggressive mag-isip, and then at the same time well, may mga innovations na gustong ipasok, no? What's rewarding is it's being appreciated, no? When you get the appreciation, not only of yung wala naman pumipigil, no, sa akin na na wag gawin ito or yan. The appreciation by my colleagues, no, dun sa government itself, of course by my boss. When the mayor likes your idea, of course you get flattered, right? No, and my immediate boss is the city administrator, so he's very supportive as well, and we've been colleagues kasi outside of the government. Pareho kaming
Oh.
ng halos magkasabay actually, and we are both civil engineers. Si Engineer De La Peña, who is also from the Academe. So
Right, from SLU.
SLU. So parang pareho ang aming transition. So we kind of understand each other. We parang may the same wavelength. So pag may innovations kami na he can easily trust, no, without having to look at all the details. And yun, napaka-rewarding nun. But the best really is when it's the public na who appreciates, no? When the public see that hindi naman directly, no, hindi ka naman lalapitan at sasabihin, pero
Uh,
yung feeling, no, especially kung yung kuwan na lang, no, what is that? Yung well, first yung siguro September, that's the first Baguio Day, September last year, no. First Baguio Day na medyo natutukan ko siya kasi 2 years pa lang ako, no. And I asked na we do something different this time, no. And yung program sa Baguio Day program sa Convention Center
yeah.
is something that I talagang designed na smooth flowing and all. And then there are several people who came to me and are saying na this is the very first Baguio Day program that is so well done, so smooth, and very short. Kasi nasanay tayo sa haba-haba, no? Naghihintay ng maraming magaganap. And very fast-paced. Yung mga ganon. And yun ang training natin sa Academe.
Right, right.
And then we partnered with private sector, particularly sa Session Road. We introduced Country Fair, if you remember that.
Yes.
Yung September, tapos every Sunday na. Yun. Yeah, with that, nakita ko yung ang saya-saya ng tao, parang you give them something that will be fun for them, that will make them really happy experience.
And something that they look forward to every Sunday.
Yeah.
Right?
So yun, yung that kind of appreciation, no, is enough na reward. It doesn't have to become with plaques or whatever, pero you see the feelings of the people. That's the best na.
Because there is a confirmation from people that you're doing a great job. Ay, by the way, bago tayo pumunta sa seryoso, matanong ko lang. Kasi nga, may nagtanong nga sa Bombo Radyo kung taga saan ka nga ba? Taga saan ka nga bang planetang galing? Sir, hindi ka daw mukhang taga Baguio. So please share to us, ano nga bang blood lineage mo?
Hindi ka kulay ng... I was born in Tarlac City. And actually, I am a Kapampangan. My family language back then is Kapampangan. But I have relatives here in Baguio City, living in Bacakeng. My aunt, we fondly call her Auntie Agring. I think she's here now, but for a while they lived in the States. Auntie Agring, the Erese family in Bacakeng, are my direct relatives. So as young as we are, actually, even elementary days, every summer we're here. No? So there's no other way but to pursue my college here in Baguio City because I'm familiar with it already. So after high school, ayan, dito na ako nag-college, and that is life-changing. Kasi ever since, hindi na ako bumalik at umuwi.
In love ka na sa Baguio City.
Exactly. So that means more than half of my life is I'm already a Baguio resident, and actually I'm a voter here as well. No, I voted 3 presidents na dito sa Baguio. Ako talaga bumoboto. So yun yung istorya. The funny thing actually is, I am a Mapalo. No, back in Tarlac, we are the only Mapalos So parang it's weird na napaka-unique pala na apelido ko doon kasi walang kapampangan na Mapalo eh. But when I got to Baguio, ang daming Mapalo.
Marami.
And I don't know them. No? So parang my father yata is a long lost Ilocano. I think sa La Union diyan yata yung roots din ng Mapalo. So, I have affinity and then I fell in love with the. But to tell you honestly, my first impression of Baguio City is it's very American. No? It's an American
Alright,
city.
yes.
Diba? The fog and Jhen and the
And the
names.
buildings.
Buildings, American colonial architecture. Yun yung aking parang wow, as if I'm in another country. And then nung nagtuturo na ako, yan na nga, because I love culture and arts. That's when I started, sinking in. Wow, there's a distinct culture here. Yung Cordillera culture, the Ibaloys, no, and then the Mountain Province. Doon ako na awestruck. You don't have to go to, you don't have to look at just the American feel, but something here that is very Filipino na hindi alam ng Pilipino. Kasi nga ako galing ng Tarlac, tapos nakita ko lahat to. And what's sad at that time, 80s, 90s yan eh. No? May konting discrimination. May konting insecurity ba at that time na not really many are saying that I am an Igorot or hindi masyadong maano yun noon eh. Not until now. If you notice the change. And I would like to believe it's a very welcome change kasi I saw that nung nasa UC ako kasi BCF pa noon eh, Baguio Colleges Fondo. Tapos meron pang mga kuminsan na misnomer na ay naku iwasan niyo yan kasi baka mamagulo, palaaway. The natives, no? Pero they are the ones who I got friends with noong college. Yung mga una kong drinking session while I was a college session was with the locals.
Yes.
And I was enjoying that. And the humor back then talagang napaka unique na hindi mo muna kung tatawa ba o hindi. So I was embedded in a culture na hindi ko naintindihan noong una. Kasi nga pati sila medyo may humble pa masyado. They're not talking about it. Until nga we form the cultural group, no?
Right.
Design niya kasi this is the real thing. So dapat i-propagate natin to, natin. So yun na, and eventually everybody followed. Tapos nagkaroon na ng t-shirt, di ba? Igorota, kunana diyan. Everybody suddenly is so proud. No, hindi na kailangan itago. So ngayon so nakita ko yun, yung transition na yun, and I'm so proud to be part of that.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for embracing the Igorot heritage. For I'm also a pure Igorota, and Ma'am Doray, your best friend, your BFF.
Friends ko talaga, mga locals. I should have worked here, parang ganon.
Correct. It's really your fate talaga. So, a Cordilleran by heart, right? Ayan. Okay, so thank you for sharing us your story. Now let's go down to these a little serious questions. What's the status of tourism in Baguio prior to the pandemic?
Well, it's booming. No, we have a lot of course, you can now see the difference. No, everybody misses it. Where we have a lot of tourists. No, you monitor the peak season here. And, as a matter of fact, I always tell everyone we don't have really a peak season or lean season because whole year round, even during the rainy months, meron tayong tourists. So. We saw how tourism really has become a major industry, and the economy of Baguio has become revolving around the tourism industry. Aside from the students, malaki siyang industriya na dapat ayusin, dapat alagaan. But ang mga lang noon when I came in as the tourism officer, dito na pumasok yung mga concept of sustainable tourism. And then even to the point that we are being labeled already as a city that is experiencing over tourism. no, or mass tourism na we are already reaching yung overwhelming our resources, no, yung ating capacity that is not able to accommodate na all the tourists that would like to come. So yun yung mga pumapasok noon na concept when I came in, which is a problem. Pero sabi ko, it's a nice problem. No?
Yeah.
Because that means we are attracting tourists. You know? We are attracting visitors. Kaya like ko sinasabi sa nagtatanong sa amin that time, well, the problem really is that we are a victim of our own success. No? Na we are very successful in terms of being able to attract. No? Baguio really has a charm, no, that will attract all of these visitors. Pero victim because we were not able to somehow manage, no, manage the tourists here, and that is when I started looking at the different factors or the different components that put up all of this concept of over-tourism. Ano ba talaga? Anong problema? Kaya naman lahat, pero may problema. Parang ganon eh. No? And that's the situation back then. No? We're trying to find the issue. Ang hirap din eh. Kasi business side, natutuwa lahat. No? Pero sabi nila, umiiyak na daw environment. No? Ating resources, water resources, food supply also, food supply chain, hindi na rin ganun ka sustainable, and all of these labels that we're putting to Baguio, and there had been actually feasibility study, there had been replanning, may mga ganon din, ang dami kong binasang libro, no, at ang daming good ideas, pero you know, ang pinakamahirap, but you cannot undo. You cannot simply just undo kasi parang nagpatong-patong na yung problems. And to solve some of the problems, you have to undo first. No, undo first some of the old practices, no, or you have to revise pa nga some of our local laws. So ang dami mong kailangan i-undo. Ang hirap yun, umpisahan. That is why sinasabi ko rin na baka this is the chance. This pandemic is giving us a chance to reboot, no, to reset. No, this is like the restart button, no, in our computers na lahat magre-reset so that we can be able to pivot na, no, redirect na towards what we can implement really as a sustainable and responsible.
Yes. That's the silver lining of this pandemic because it has rehabilitated our environment. And then, as you said, sir, it has given us a chance to reboot what is already been overcrowded because of mass tourism. So, which leads us now to our next question. Wow. So, sir, so prior to the pandemic, tourism was really good. I can also say on our end as a tour operators, because we have prior bookings, not only here in Baguio, but in Cordilleras. But during the pandemic, what happened to tourism during the pandemic? How low or how bad was tourism affected?
I'm sure you know how bad it is. And it's, iiyak ka talaga, diba? That's how bad it is. You just had Miss Raquel, no? We heard her story, and it's really something na nakakaiyak. That's the least that we can say. But that's only one. How about those na hindi natin narinig, no? And several times starting March, may mga pumapasyal sa office, no, asking for help. These are the small players of the tourism industry. No? Ito yung mga may maliliit na transient houses, yung mga pony boys, may maliliit na pasalubong retail. They're not big businesses, pero you saw how they've been hardly hit also. No? that was the time na pati kami we're at a loss, di ba? We never, nobody experienced something like this before. So it's a first time for all of us. So pati kami parang overwhelmed of what do we do now? What do we do next? Buti na lang we have a very organized system of pag-asikaso ng aming mga relief goods. It's all centralized kasi, all the donations are put into our confinement sa teachers camp through our OXWA doon, city welfare. So doon na lang muna kami humihingi, no? Tapos there were cries from artists din, no? Artists, performers, nawalan ng events. Ang dami. Tapos sila din meron pang personally magte-text sa akin, no? Kung how we can help them daw. And ako, pag tatanungin mo ko data, we don't know also how, except yun na nga, find muna what they can have to sustain them at least for a day or two, no, or a week. Kaya yung mga relief goods noon sa city welfare, yun talagang we see to it that we give it to the most needy at that time. The good thing about this also is that ang dami ring nagdo-donate, no? Ang daming gustong tumulong, no? And that alone at least somehow nakapagbigay ng hope and relief kahit na for a few days, no? Pero tumatagal tayo, no? Tumatagal na ilang months na ba, no? March, April, May, July. And then August na, 5 months na nga. Tumatagal, we don't know what's next. Yun yung mahirap isipin, because even if you have this recovery plan, no, you will never know the situation of this virus kasi, no, how it will hit back again, or how it will how it will impact, no, our daily lives and our businesses. So itong tumagal na to, yung mga tao natin sa tourism industry talagang way below zero na. Way below zero na. And sometimes the people who are not in the industry cannot understand, or having difficulty understand. Na it's easy to say na yun na nga, find an alternative. Sige na, ang daming online sellers, di ba? Magbenta ka here, magtanim ka ng garden here, and then you produce a new product, so you sell something new, ganon. Ang daling sabihin yun, pero you're apektado ka, you're one of those.
Obra.
Diba? Ang daling sabihin nun, but and the people who are saying that, I don't know what's their experience. Sabi ko, hindi nyo ba na-feel? Yes, we've done that. We provided somehow support so that people can start a new business, but it's not their mainstream livelihood. Yes. And that is what they are looking for. No?
Kasi this industry kasi, I'm emotional because I'm really a stakeholder of this industry. Although priority natin is the safety of everybody, but we also have to balance safety and survival. Diba? So this is a multiplier effect, diba, sir? Ang tourism has a multiplier effect. So it's not just the travel agencies, the hotels, but it also goes down. Like ito, yung ating isang kasama. Yan. I just recently interviewed Sir Romel, yung mga silver shops, yung mga souvenir shops. Even the pony boys that you have mentioned, our tour guides, yung mga nagbebenta ng taho, yung strawberry taho, strawberry ice cream, yung mga farmers natin ng strawberry. This is a very, very big industry. Kaya,
yes.
Kaya sir, my question is this what led you to reopening Baguio? So that's the question. What led our mayor or our office to finally consider reopening Baguio for tourists?
Definitely, I will not deny that, no? And it's part really of our recovery plan. Parang we are projecting na kung dapat September, okay na tayo, pwede na. And because even September is too long already to not to have tourists, no? So we're counting from February. February kasi na-cancel na yung panagbenga, no? February, March, April, May, June, July, August. That's 7 months. Tama ba? Bilang ko. Bago mag-September, it's really just too long without a source of livelihood for many. Tama ka doon sa multiplier effect. You alone, how many do you employ? Diba? Or you have 4. And those 4 will have their families. Will have
Families.
so yung sabihin na natin yung malaki industry na say a big hotel. What's funny nga some hotels actually employ casual employees whenever there's peak season, no?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
many of our locals are looking forward to that. Na at least meron silang chance to earn some income during those peak season. Pati nga yung biking sa kung minsan hindi mo namamalayan dumadami ang bikes na supposedly counted supposedly controlled. So nagmumultiply yan and nagmumultiply, and yun na nga, just to if we will look at the estimate that we're doing, na sabi namin 4 months lang nawala yung 1.4 billion na dapat pumasok sa city, kasi that's how we studied kasi yung spending habits, no, of the tourists, and at an average nakakuha kami na estimate na 1.4 billion ang dapat ginastos ng turista from February, March, April, May. 4 months lang. So iba pa yung July, hindi pa namin binibilang. 4 months, 1.4 billion. Yun dapat ang kinita ng lahat ng taho, ng biking, ng hotel. Yun dapat ang pumasok sa city. Tapos sabihin nila na magbenta muna tayo. Parang mag-bake muna tayo. Well, it's okay, no? I mean,
naman ginagawa natin kasi we need to survive, really.
It's okay kasi talagang ginawa, no? Ginawa. We saw a lot of stories about it. Well, may different levels of success, no? Pero yung iba kasi, syempre yung puso nila hirap na hirap din. Ganon siya
Kalalim at kalaki.
Kalalim at kalaki na dapat hanapan natin na paano tayo makapag-strike ng balance. Just like what you're saying, no?
Yes.
It's not just us wanting to earn.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
It's not that kasi kumisan ang hirap na yun ang mga reactions nila. Naku, priority ang pera sa health. It's never like that. It's so heartwarming to hear what Ma'am Raquel mentioned, no, na tinuloy niya ang mag-cater or mag-supply, magluto, but not necessarily to earn. Diba? I remember that.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
I saw that. But to help the other people na wala talaga, totally zero. And yung totally wala, yung zero, mas marami yun. Tayo, si Ma'am Raquel, perhaps medyo okay, no? Pero yung mga tinulungan natin noon, in-employ natin nila, sila zero as in gutom na gutom. So kung sila sana matulungan muna natin, sila yung sanang maka-reach ng tulong. Tayo, kung ganun ang mindset gaya ni Ma'am Raquel, pati yung tulong yan, it will trickle siguro. Kaya yung striking that balance is so difficult. And it's just frustrating, no? I will not deny it, na kumisan talagang frustrating na sasabihin mo pa lang yung word na tourism, talagang puputaktihin ka na ng negative comments, no?
Because yung imagination nila is the usual tourism kind of thing that, everybody's open. Our door is, wide open.
That's exactly what we want to correct also, no? Yun na nga, we want to open tourism, pero hindi naman as if inopen mo yung gate and then rush na lahat ng tao sa loob ng Baguio. It's not going to be like that, definitely. Meron pa siguro yung stigma nga, kasi nakwento ko kanina yung over-tourism, mass tourism. Many of our locals, sometimes me, di ba, hindi na natin yun na nasisikipan na tayo masyado. So that's the stigma, that's the image that is coming to their minds whenever they hear the word tourism. But remember what I've said. This is a reset button. No, when we start and we reopen, it's going to be different. We will have to see to it. It's not going to be like that anymore. So yun yung kailangan ma-communicate, no, sa ating local residents. And that is why three keywords lang yan yung to describe and to understand yung ating sinasabi natin pag reopen. First is gradual. No? As a matter of fact, baka the first week, baka hindi nga natin ma-feel na may tourist. Kasi nga, baka nga ayaw pa nga nilang
Baka ayaw nilang pumunta. Yes.
First and foremost, it's going to be restrictive. We have a lot of requirements. We see to it that they are also going to be safe, no, when they come in. And we here in the residents, we will also have to be safe. So we have to require them. You have to pre-register. Okay, you have to pre-book. No, as a matter of fact, nakalagay na rin doon, ready na sa aming registration na may question doon, who is your travel agent? So it can become a requirement, and we might wanna do that.
I hope. Yeah. I hope you can.
So meron nang nasa questions na yun, because when we monitor the movement, we know who to talk with. No, the travel agents are the first persons who can tell us the information and can help us regulate, di ba? Yung
correct.
Kasi you design the itinerary and all, and then you always in touch with your guests. So mas madaling ma-monitor. Pa hindi namin magagawa yun. Correct. And then even the hotel, kailangan na mag-book sa hotel. Why is that? Kasi may nagtanong na sa amin, no? Ay sige, meron naman natuwa, no? Ay sige, open na yung tourist. So pwede na pumasok yung relatives namin at tagal nang gustong pasyalan kami kasi, ganon. Pero titira sila sa bahay. No? So sabi namin, not yet. Hindi pa ganun klaseng tourism ang ating ibubuksan or i-allow because it's difficult to monitor. Ang daming kuminsan biglang ilalockdown ng barangay. So paano na pag nangyari yun? No? Ang daming, we will never know what's going on inside the residence kasi nobody's monitoring but themselves. But when they are hotel where there are strict guidelines as to how to implement or observe strict safety and health protocols kasi mandated sila eh. That is why they were issued a certificate to operate. No? So we know that they are safe there. Kasi may strict guidelines sa mga hotels. No? Pag nasa bahay, hindi na namin alam, no? what's going on there. So hindi pa yon ang tourism na. So madami na frustrate actually, no? Na hindi pa pala pwede. So that's what I meant by gradual. No? The second keyword is regulated. Regulated means, well, I've already mentioned it, no? Na tourists will have to comply with our strict guidelines, and we will control as to who can come in. No, meaning meron tayo munang restrictions. So, like for example, the number. So, if we want na, actually we can say na pag weekdays wala, yan. Monday to Wednesday we will not allow any tourists. Sige, pag Thursday pwede na siguro 100. Friday pwede na siguro 500. Yan. So that's what we mean by regulated, no? Up to a maximum of say 500 muna this first few weeks. Ganon. So sabi ko nga yung 500 na yun baka di pa natin ma-feel because kinontrol din natin kung saan sila pupunta. Because we'll give them advisories. Please don't go to the market yet because you can also we will also do that, no? So yun yung hindi pa nakita siguro nung ating residents how it can be regulated na pwedeng mangyaring ganon. Para the exposure is minimal and the mobility minimal, no? So yun naman ang kinakatakot kasi natin, no? And then third na keyword sa pag-implement natin ng reopening is dynamic policies, meaning from time to time we review the condition, no? Pag sinabi ng health officials naku tumatami ang cases natin, okay, let's stop, wag muna natin papasukin, no? So we can change the policies as we go along. That's how dynamic it is. But while we are doing all of those, I think it is important that we're starting to do something little by little. gradual, regulated, dynamic yan.
And
Pero
dynamic.
yeah, we're starting to. Siguro sige, hindi pa definite September 1, at baka sabihin, kasi we'll have a consultation.
Right.
Starting tomorrow up to Friday, we'll consult with different sectors,
Mm.
particularly health office officials, no, healthcare sector. We will ask their opinions, no?
Ah.
If eventually siguro they suggest, let's push it little back, siguro mga end of September.
Mm.
Sige, we can consider that, no? If it's the consensus and we see, no, that is the more prudent timeline. Kasi we also talaga, sabi ko naman, prioritize din ang health and we really
Yes.
consider that. We can do that, no? Pero it doesn't mean we stop preparing.
Yes,
No?
exactly.
So we prepare for September 1, we prepare for September 30, we prepare for October right now. Hindi pwedeng mag-prepare kami sa December pa lang. That is why we're putting up all the systems in place. That is the purpose of my post.
Yes.
To announce that we have a system, to announce that we have a guideline. And as a matter of fact, yung hindi ko pa na publicly, widely disseminated is that, but I think nakita na rin ng iba, that we're putting up an online registration system. No?
Mm.
Which we are seeing as something that can be long-term. No, long-term system that is in place. And this is what will help us move towards that direction na gusto natin, a responsible and sustainable tourism. How? Because one, no, we can protect our sites, the environment, because we can control the number. No, yung system na yun will help us count how many went inside botanical. It can even help us with social distancing, no, physical distancing. Kasi, sige, kailangan 100 ang nasa loob. So that online system may check-in, check-out, counter, digital, touchless. Kasi nga healthy, dapat. No, so may counter yan. So we can count real time. Pag pag nag 100 na yan, may trigger na. So we will notify na all the others. Please consider going to another site because botanical garden is already full. That's part of being a responsible tourist. No? That's part of being managing and doing a sustainable tourism. So that's one, and many others. No, many others applications na pwede nating na matutulungan tayo nitong system na to. No, at tayo na leksyon.
So may as a person from the tourism industry, somehow there's a glimmer of hope that I may be able to provide permanent employment for my staff because right now skeletal din kami doing an innovative source of livelihood as you have been seeing, 'di ba? So ko personally I'm very very happy kasi kahit papaano na-employ ko sila, kahit na alternate sila, kahit papaano nakapagbigay tayo ng livelihood sa empleyado natin. There's a glimmer of hope for us in the tourism sector. But of course, there's still fear, right? There's still fear if we will open tourism. The ultimate question is, are we ready? Ready na ba tayo to accept these tourists? Is Baguio ready? Is our government ready?
In terms of the logistical and health systems, no, the facilities that is necessary para to allay the fears, no, of overwhelming our healthcare workers. I think we are ready at this time, no. Looking at the trend, and earlier in our meeting, Dr. Galpo enumerated naman the facilities, the isolation centers that we had. Hindi pa naman napupuno yan, no. And the number of cases that we are the trend, sabi niya, it can still support up to 2 months, no, maano pa rin mabigyan sila ng healthcare from private hospitals, government hospitals, and what the city already put up, which is isolation center at Santo Niño, no, and then pati sa teachers camp, no, meron din sinet up doon. So in terms of the capacity of handling number, we are keeping up, no? We are coping. But yun na nga, we'll never know when the surge again, no? That is, sabi ko nga, what we need to prepare for. So kanina, that is part of the discussion. Oh, we have to add more beds. Yan, mga ganun na. We have to add more beds sa Santo Niño kasi not only locals, yan, baka meron tayong visitors na we might need facilities for that. So, we are ready or reinforcing what we have right now. No, kung sabihin natin ready tayo for a small cases that were or yung trend nga na nakikita natin ngayon is ready pa, pero if we open for tourists, we have to be more than ready, no? Kaya yun yung binibilang na namin kanina, no? The capacity, the beds, the facilities, the testing kits, no? Pag ni-require natin sila, kailangan nandyan yung mga test kits. Our mayor and our city health officials are looking for suppliers now, and they are considering a new testing mode. I forgot the term. Na less expensive and quicker daw yung results. Quick results at yun. And then isang factor na tinitingnan na yung borders. No, we have to also be ready with how we control borders. Kasi if we would like to be strict and regulate the entry, bawal talaga yung mga nakakalusot. Ang dami nating naririnig, di ba? Yan yung isang criticism sa amin. Ay, naku, magpapasok na kayo ng tourist, ang dami na nga nakalusot.
Pasok na sila.
Yeah, so parang gano'n, no? And so it's something that is being continually discussed with our police people as well. Pagod na rin sila, no? Aside from our health workers na pagod na rin. Sila din, 24-hour yan na nakabantay at nagkukulang na rin sila ng tao. Actually, that's their concern now, no? Kasi every time that we need to lock down a barangay for 3 or 4 days, they will have to deploy, no, some personnel there. So talaga nadideplete yung mga tao sa borders. Pero the good thing is they are hearing the issues, no? Yung mga reklamo ng mga tao, naririnig natin lahat yan. Kaya recently may mga nahuli sila actually, 'di ba, na vans going out of the city and then bringing out people without proper documents. Yeah, may nahuli na sila. I think 3 na yata yung nahuli nila. So we're trying to keep up. And if the attitude alone, no, ng ating mga public officials in wanting to be ready is making us confident that we can be more ready in the future. That is the reason why I said kanina na even if we push back our schedule of reopening, it doesn't mean that we stop preparing. No? We have to put all the systems in place. As a matter of fact, kanina sa presentation ko, we made a checklist. Check ano yung ilalagay, put up muna natin. Ano dapat ang in place? Ano yung logistical support na kailangan? Yan. So we need to coordinate now with the stakeholders. We need to meet now with the hotels. Kaya nga on Friday we'll have consultation. Para yung communication structure din is strong, no? That we can be able to disseminate whatever information in real time. So lahat yun tinitingnan, no? It's a really complicated thing. And this is only for the reason that yun na nga, we want to strike a balance.
Right.
Na lahat safe, yes, as much as we can, but of course nobody can guarantee naman na 0 case, diba? Nobody can guarantee that. The mayor is already at this stage after going around, diba? He's now a national staff of the task force. He goes around and learn from the experiences of other LGUs. And he saw, sabi niya, we can find that balance. We can have to be able to find that balance. Especially that but it has to be dynamic, sabi nga niya, no? I actually researched it last night, but he mentioned about the hammer and dance para philosophy or theory, no, of an economist on how to find that balance. Yung hammer and dance para kang how you dynamically play with the situation, no? So you are on a hammer stance. You put a hard stance if you see that there are increase, no, in cases like what we are experiencing now. But this can't be forever. Pag may control na konti, na control natin, baka pwede tayong stance na konti. A little easing up of the restrictions so that we start economy rolling again. Yeah. And then pag medyo ano na ulit, no? Hammer ulit. So that's how it can be dynamic. Pero you have to be at the always, no? At the forefront. Yeah, you have to be at your toes kung ano ang magiging situation. That's how the complications come in. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yun.
Yeah.
Pareho tayo ng gustong mangyari. I think even our local residents, but it's just a matter of make them understand.
Unity, cooperation, and compassion. Because at the time of pandemic, these are the three things that really would help everyone overcome and rise above this pandemic. So thank you, sir, very, very much for sharing all of these to us, despite your busy schedule. So siguro, sir, last few words na lang or message to our viewers, to our locals perhaps.
I would like to thank you, Momshie, di ba, cute, for this opportunity and our banding kahit na ano, kahit
Yes.
virtual, na walang coffee tayong iniinom. Ang tagal na, no? The last time we had coffee. Siguro i-highlight ko yung ano, yung what I mentioned about reopening Baguio tourism. It's not like what we've used to know about tourism. We really had, just like what I've already mentioned, we really had problems before. And we realized those problems. Prior to pandemic, we already had problems, no, in terms of implementing responsible and sustainable tourism. And since we were able to have this chance, it doesn't mean matutuwa tayo na nagkaroon ng pandemic, no? But yun na nga, if we'll just look at the silver lining as you've mentioned, it is actually giving us a chance to learn from the past, no? And consider this a reset button. So our appeal really is that, the mention of tourism, it should not be negative. The mention of tourism should be more of what it actually contributed to all or to many, hindi siguro all, but to many people of Baguio. We have to look at it that way to really embrace and understand the plight of many of our people who talagang relied and depended on tourism for a very long time. We look at it that way, and yung negative connotation, I've already mentioned how this time around we can be able to siguro turn things around so that the tourism now is going to move towards that that end where our practice of tourism is more responsible and more sustainable. And that is always what's in our minds. No? Hindi yung para lang gusto namin kumita lahat. And secondly, the way we will do it, no? Siguro yan, I will promise na, no? Itataga ko na rin sa bato yan. Ay taga nyo sa bato na and the mayor already gave us the leeway, no, to oversee and lead, no, together with our stakeholders, the real strict implementation of what I mentioned to be a gradual, regulated, and a dynamic opening of tourism here in Baguio, no. So it's not as if biglang magbubukas ang gate tapos pasok lahat, no. What's funny nga, even the tourists are complaining pala, no? Sabi nila, ang hirap naman pala pumasok sa
Baguio. Nadi-discourage na silang pumunta.
Discourage na tuloy silang pumunta. So sabi namin, ganyan muna ngayon. Pero this is when we will discover, meron magtsatsaga na go through the process because we really offer this charm in Baguio. And that is how we will brand it now. No? That is how we will showcase what we will showcase to our visitors. Na you will be safe here. You will experience, rejuvenation of your spirits when you are here in Baguio. That alone, baka will compel them to spend.
Yeah.
To spend them for testing, to spend for the pre-registration. As a matter of fact, we have a pending resolution. Each visitor will have to pay an environmental fee. Yes, and so it will become a little more expensive to go to Baguio. If you are bringing a vehicle, you have to pay for congestion fee. So may mga pending resolutions na ganyan. So kung sasabayan makikitiming, ilalagay na rin namin sa online portal yung payment system for those. So it will become part of the process. So yun yung gusto kong i-last na i-share.
Yeah.
I-emphasize ko that it will be different. Sabi ko nga, it's an experience that we've never seen before, perhaps. So give us a chance, or perhaps help us. No? Help us keep each other safe. No? Kasi we all have this responsibility naman. No? And we will never jeopardize the
Safety of our
local residents. Everything will be really thought out. Everything will be studied. No? And pag nakita natin, it did not do good, and stop agad.
right. That's true.
Ganun lang naman na ganun ka-dynamic yun. So thank you very much, Momshie, Jhen. And this is going to be a continuing discussion
Yes, it is.
with everyone. And so it's okay, no? I-bash nyo kami ng i-bash, but those negative reactions sometimes are actually giving us insights. No, are actually giving us things to
Yes, to ponder upon, and then at least you get an insight of every person and every citizen or every resident of Baguio.
Kasi sometimes baka we forgot. Ay, oo nga pala, no?
Right.
Isipin pala natin din yung condition nila. Yan, yung ganon, di ba? At least nafi-feel din natin sila. So that alone, it's okay for us to receive your reactions and to your comments. So, yun. Thank you very much, Ma'am.
Thank you rin.
I hope your fans and your viewers can also perhaps reach to you, no? So with that, engage with this continuous discussion in helping each other.
Thank you very much, Sir Alec. This has been a very fruitful and very meaningful conversation with you. It's not really very formal, no? Pero at least we have learned several things from you. In fact, we have a sponsor for today. Ayan.
Wow.
Sir Pilak Silver Shop. We just had an interview, actually, sir, a while ago. And then he will be giving away a copper mask. So I forgot to announce it a while ago, that there will be a reward for the person who stuck with us and who watched this segment with you, Sir Alec, because I will be asking a question, and whoever answers first during our live premiere, whoever answers first will get the reward of a copper mask, which is anti-microbe, and it kills yung mga virus and bacteria na dumapo sa copper. So whoever answers this question, this came from the talk a while ago. So Sir Alec mentioned to us 3 keywords that are very important in balancing safety and reopening Baguio for tourists. So what are the 3 keywords that Sir Alec has mentioned a while ago? Diba? So 3 on. So let's see. Whoever answers first will get this very, very important,
Very
ano ba tawag natin doon? Yung copper, diba? Ano daw siya? Ikakabit siya dun sa mask. Tapos it will be antibacterial and it will kill the virus. Ayan. So whoever is the winner, congratulations. I will read it. My assistant will be assisting me later in checking who is the winner. And DTI representative will be validating the winner for today. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Sir Alec, for sharing to us your valuable time. So today, we've learned that everybody is in this together. We should be cooperating, have an open mind, and of course, we always have to understand each other. And ladies and gentlemen, in this time of pandemic, the most important thing is today is resilience and compassion. So whatever it is that we're going through right now, if we show compassion to each other, understanding and open mind, we can rise above this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Be safe, stay happy, and keep. Bye.